Hello. Okay, connection good.
Oh, mine says that. Yay, we're live. Perfect. Okay, so hey guys, we are officially live again with another episode of Real Talk, and today we are with Unashamed Imaging, Anisha Collins. And before we get diving into our awesome topic, I just wanted to again quickly go over a few things that we always talk about. I'm live here at Priscilla Rose Law. We'll be transferred over to Priscilla Rose Events. And then, are you on your personal or are you on Unashamed? Personal as well. Mm-hmm. So if you guys have any questions or comments, or you want to, stop and talk with us, please leave some comments. We'll be watching it, and we'd love to chat with you guys as well. And then I wanted to remind you just about Real Talk, that it is a chance that we actually get to, as PR events, sit down with awesome, amazing wedding professionals to answer questions that you might have, or some really fun topics that we can kind of sit and talk about. You get to sit in front of two wedding professionals, so feel free to come in. This is Real Talk, so you never know what's going to happen. So today we're with Unashamed Imaging. Thank you so much for joining us. And I wanted to ask kind of just, who are you, and who's your company, and what are you guys all about?
So I'm Anisha Collins. I am an award-winning wedding photographer and cinematographer. Cinematography means video, in case you're like, what's cinema? That's what it means. And I'm currently based in Orlando, Florida. I've been doing this for about 9 years now. So Unashamed Imaging in a nutshell is pretty much wedding photography and videography for couples that like style and class. That's my ideal audience. That's what you'll find on my website. That's what you'll find as far as people who like my stuff and book me.
Perfect. And what is the wedding experience of an Unashamed Imaging couple?
Well, it definitely starts with relationship and nurturing. My couple still talk to me to date. I mean, some of them have been married now 3, 4, 5 years. They'll send me their baby photos, all of that jazz. Even they'll take anniversary photos with me. It could range, but for the most part, it's really relationship based. A lot of nurturing, which is a part of the experience. So a lot of nurturing, and honestly, in the name of just being yourself. I fall in love with people who are just truly themselves. Like in my messaging, whether personal or business, you'll find somewhere in there where I'm always encouraging people to just be you.
And let me ask you, because as another wedding professional, I have found, especially in such experience, are you okay with saying no to couples who are not your couple?
It's never a no in the sense of like judgmental. A lot of times I can't provide that kind of experience that you're looking for, and so I have to make a business decision and say, like, it's just not the right fit. And I have that on my website. Like, I actually want to talk to my couples when they inquire, and I ask certain questions, so don't skip the inquiry form. But I ask certain questions because it lets me know like where their mindset is. It lets me know whether or not, honestly, if they looked at my website, if they've been following me on social, because I'm so linked and transparent. Like, what you find on my website is what you'll see on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. And so that lets me know whether they're just looking for a photographer or whether they're looking for an experience. There's a difference.
And when you talk about like relationships and experience, I think it's so cool, especially with photography, because, with wedding planners, we usually see you once. But with photography, you guys have a really cool experience because you can see them at their engagement session, and then you said you're their wedding, and then their post-wedding, and their baby pictures, and you said you kind of get that a lot too, where you follow up with your couples.
Yeah. So you're asking like the connection points are longer. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, there's tons of wedding photographers and videographers out there, but again, if there's a difference between a couple that just wants someone to take photos and videos, and whether the couple really wants to have an experience with you. Like, and in order to have an experience, they actually need to get to know you. It's not just take my photos, have a nice day. And there are some businesses out there that are like that, but the ones that have like that longevity, or the clients that return, continuous business, there's a whole bunch of things I can name under that. It's because there's a relationship there. It's not so much take. What I mean by take is like, give me your money and we're done. Like, there's,
and
of course,
you see that in the wedding industry sometimes. That's why you have to have really amazing wedding professionals.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited especially to talk with you today, because not only is Anisha an award-winning photographer and an amazing boss babe, but she professionally too. You have your own kind of following with wedding professionals of helping them with their social media platforms and video tutorials and marketing. So this is kind of, I guess, opening it up to this too. Is what's your favorite part of your job? I know that's a big question.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, I have to sit back and go like, So there's definitely two categories, because unashamed imaging is definitely the wedding experience. That's for my couples, for my brides, for my couples. I know I said that twice, but intentionally. And then also there's a family dynamic to weddings, because most people do expand, whether they're adopting or having their own children, they still have a family aspect. So I do a lot of family sessions too. I've done weddings and elopements of families that I've married, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's
so
so cool, yeah.
So there's
it's
like
that,
right, and that's what I mean by that continuous relationship. As far as the non-wedding side, I do love helping other business owners when it comes to video marketing, learning how to market, and honestly, learning how to market in a non-salesy and a non-sleazy way, because everyone knows when they're being sold to. For example, if you saw Priscilla in an ad, a paid ad, you would know that it's paid. There's a lot of things you see. You see the swipe up feature, you see all those things. Right. So your brain automatically, if you're not ready to book her, your brain is automatically going, I'm not ready, swipe. So a lot of paid ads actually can hurt businesses. Whereas giving value, like what you're doing here through the show and other means that are more organic, it's a way of nurturing and getting to know people, so that when the paid ad comes at their time to book you, it's more natural and they're not like feeling pressure to just buy because it's in their face.
And speaking of getting to know you, I have one more kind of question before we dive into our awesome topics. Again, if you're just logging in, hey, make sure that you are liking us, that we know that you're here, adding some questions. We are here to talk, real talk, so if you have questions, go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, guys, X over here too. I can see you.
But when you are not working, what do you do when you're not being a boss babe?
Love reading, love going to the movies, love the ocean. I'm kind of a foodie with some restrictions because I have some food allergies, so a foodie to an extent. Sleeping. So for those who think I work so much and I'm like, oh, you're always busy, I actually sleep. So sleeping, love going to networking. Again, reading, like I'm always reading, even if it's an audio book, which some people consider not reading. Those are probably, and shopping. I like shopping as I've gotten older. Before I was like, when I was younger, I was more of a tomboy, so I didn't shop as much. As I've gotten older, I'm like, ooh, I like that. So shopping.
So we got shopping, we got reading. So if you are our shoppers, our foodies, or readers, make sure that you're connecting. So I want to dive into our amazing topics that we have. We've had photographers on this show before, but it's I kind of wanted to specialize a little bit and talk specifically to your expertise and profession, but also kind of we're about to get into this big engagement season.
Yes.
Holidays are coming up, so gentlemen, if you're watching, this is for you too.
See the comments.
Yeah,
I was checking. I was like, I know there's comments, but they're not showing. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Oh, we're talking about that, so stay tuned. We're talking about publishing. That's awesome. Stay tuned. So we yes, we are. Hey, Mandy. We are here at Anisha Collins. We're about to dive into proposals and engagement sessions and how to get things published and elopements, which is near and dear to my heart because I'm hoping to elope one day soon.
Yeah.
So let me ask, because you've kind of seen everything, and what I really love is, you know, we're jumping into this engagement season, and what is the first thing that our couples want to do is take engagement pictures and send out their save the date. So I kind of want to hear a little bit about your thoughts of photo engagement sessions, and I'm going to ask a few questions. So again, if you guys have any questions, make sure you sign in and comment as well. So what are some of your favorite or maybe best locations?
Oh, for engagement
sessions?
Okay, so there are a few. Well, let me just make it easier for you guys. So one, if you go to my blog on www.unashapedimaging.com, that's my website. Hit the blog menu. Now listen to the rest of this. Okay? I just wanted you to go, like in the menu, there's a button that says blog. I have an actual list of 25 best engagement session locations.
I know, that's where I got my question.
So make it easy. So you're like, I didn't have to write all this down. It's there for you already. But some of my favorites have been, the common one that everyone sees, is Rollins College. Even though everyone and their mother shoots there, it's so big that for the most part, a lot of people have not shot at every location. And tip, an experienced photographer and videographer will know how to make a location look like you've never been there before. So that's a key thing when you're looking at people's portfolios, especially if they've been at like the same venue or same location. Like, look at how they told the story relevant to that couple. I love Rollins. There's an area in Winter Garden that has like a vine wall.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really pretty. Definitely elegant. I have an engagement session there too on my site, so you can check that if you want to. I'm giving you my top 3. Okay. So that was
I'm sure you could go on.
Yeah, I can. But I'm like, I don't want to. And then any area that is by water, and I know that sounds like, well, name specific. I just like water for myself. It's tranquil for me, and I know that's a lot of my couples. They like trees and water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm forcing them to like it by my portfolio. I think they naturally like it. So anything with water, my eye is gonna like.
And do you have a lot of couples that, they feel, do you have a lot of couples where they kind of go into it and they're like, this is where I want my engagement photos, I already know, or do you have a lot of like, what do you think, what do you suggest?
We get, that conversation happens way before their session starts.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, like, depending on where they are in their journey of planning, so what I mean by that is whether they're getting married in the next 9 months or next 14 months, there is a difference. There's not that much of an urgency right away if it's 14 months, unless they're like overachievers and want to do save the dates. But what we normally discuss is like, do you have a theme? Like on the beach or something like that. Like if there's a theme, then we're jumping right into where we can go because one, do we need a permit, time of day, location, outfit, all of that jazz. So that's a factor, right there. But for the most part, I'm like trying to do like a quick Rolodex. 95% of my couples have trusted where I've taken them. I do ask, so did you have a specific look? And then usually I'm going in my head like, okay, we can go here and here.
And kind of going with that theme, because we are going to talk about publishing, so stay tuned. But just kind of going with that theme of, engagement sessions. Do you usually suggest like the colors they should wear, props they should bring? Is that something that, of course you walk them through it.
Yeah, colors, a lot of times, my couples tend to have looked at my work already and they know like, okay, either I'm going to wear a color I'm comfortable with. I do have an engagement session style guide that I give, so that helps too. Cool. But like, for example, I'll give you a quick short story. I had a wedding I just shot in June of this year, and they had a green and champagne theme for their wedding. Okay. But which I wish I brought it with me. What they did for their save the dates was like a little bookmark, because that was a part of their theme, and they wore green, black, and champagne because it matched, and that's what they were going to send out. Yeah. So if you have something like that, then you probably are going to care more about colors. What I do tell people, and this is probably gonna make you laugh, but you don't have to match like brother and sister. Oh, and I don't. Whatever your preference is, relationship-wise, that's not my business. It's not what I'm saying. No, seriously, like what I'm saying is like you see couples like, oh, like I have to wear blue like she's wearing. No, like you can complement colors, and I think a lot of couples get stuck in this. I gotta look like the Boxy twins type of thing, as opposed to just complementing colors.
Pinterest is our best friend and our worst enemy, because I'm telling you that's where they're getting these ideas from. And trust your photographer, and that's why we really invest in this show too as well, because we really want you to get in front of amazing professionals and know kind of what their process is and why they do the things they do, and kind of answer these questions that you may not really think about.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to that question. Let's go ahead and chat about what if I do, and this doesn't really even have to go with engagement sessions. It could go with your wedding or any other really part of photography. Let's talk about publication. So what if I want to get my session published in a magazine, on a blog? Kind of what's the, I guess, how do I go about that? What's my...
Okay, so first, a professional photographer or videographer, because now blogs are taking video too, yay. Their first thought should not be, I'm going to get this engagement session published. Like, that's not the priority, should never be the priority. Now, if the couple says, I would love to get it published, then you can have that kind of conversation. Well, what are you looking at? What blogs are you looking at? Something like that. But it should never be the primary thought. You know what I'm saying? It should never be the primary focus.
You are the primary thought and focus.
Right. So then from there, what I normally do is I will ask my couples, are you even comfortable with being published? Because some of them may not want to be.
Sure.
Most do, but some don't. And then just go from there and like look at sites that have what you have as far as like maybe the theme you had. But I will say there is this urgency for diversity. And so if you're a publication listening, because I know we're connected to different people.
Absolutely.
You want to have more diversity on your blog, so don't hesitate to try to submit somewhere or get published somewhere where you don't see yourself, because that might be a reason why they take you.
Yeah. I was going to say it too, is there kind of like people might be wondering if there's like a criteria they have to meet.
Right.
Or,
well, that's based on the blog. Like, the blog will tell you.
And the blog will tell you what your criteria
is. They'll say what we need, what we don't like. Because their blogs are very protective of their audience. If you want to learn how to find your target audience, this is for the business owners watching, like, talk to someone that owns a blog. Yeah. Like, they know their audience down to the T.
Definitely. Okay, so we're going to kind of keep going with this idea of photo sessions, but I wanted to jump into proposals as well. So gentlemen, especially, if you're thinking about popping the question, because I know what's really popular right now is having a photographer at your proposal, which is a great idea. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about proposals, surprise proposals, surprise proposals with a photographer, and then kind of asking what would be your best advice. My other question too, because I was actually doing some research on the knot, and it's funny because one of the most searched things from grooms especially and brides is, how does my photographer go about at that proposal? Do they hide the whole time? Is that something I have to plan? If I'm proposing on top of a mountain, where's my photographer? And it's funny because you don't think about it until it's there. So I kind of want to hear what your thoughts are on just proposals, and as a photographer, what maybe some funny stories.
So, quick tip, definitely planning. Like, even though a proposal is technically on the fly to the person that's being proposed to, the planning needs to happen ahead of time, because you need to know, like, where you're going to be, what time. If it's going to be outdoors, do we have a weather issue? Like, right now it's raining. I wouldn't want to be proposed to in the rain, even though it's a special moment. Like, I don't want to be wet. You know what I mean? I'll share this quick story. I did a surprise proposal for a friend of mine at Disney. And, we had to go through this.
That's a task in itself.
Long behind the process. It was worth it. Gosh. But I was just like, okay. And I had, like, one tip I'll say is, for a proposal, like, the photographer shouldn't be in the way. So, using like a telephoto lens, like a 70-200, that way you can zoom in. Those big lenses you guys see us photographers with, that's what I'm referring to. So you're not in the way. When I did my friend's surprise proposal, I was like, if you go to Disney, they have the train track in the middle. We were by the castle. They were on the other side of the street. I was on this side, like, hiding behind people. And I got all these different angles. She did not realize I was there until he had put the ring on her, the whole kissy, all that stuff. I was behind her, and then she turned around and was like, thank you. She was like, ah! Like, she didn't even know I was, like, there. So I think it's not about you in that moment. So be in the moment, but don't be in the way.
Okay.
That's a shirt. Be in the moment, but don't be in the way.
Be in the moment, but don't be in the way. I like that. So are there any, I guess on the flip side of it, are there any things that should be avoided? And this could be for engagement sessions as well. Kind of like your avoid this, or any stories you could tell us about maybe a misconception for a couple, or maybe what they think is going to happen, or something they should avoid. Do we want them in a certain location for a proposal? Those types of things.
If the conversation hasn't happened yet, like, about proposing, let me rephrase. If you are planning it, like, you're the one that's going to propose to the person, start having little conversations with them, like, hey, what's your favorite color? If this was going to happen, stuff like that, so that way it's a little bit more, they're more comfortable. You're not putting them, like, for instance, if the person that you're proposing to is to themselves and very introverted, they're probably not going to want to be proposed to in front of a huge crowd.
Sure.
Like, they'll probably say no just because of that. So that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's something to consider. You know, maybe their favorite place that you had your first date or something like that, something significant. But at the end of the day, like, don't let social media as well influence like how big or small your proposal is. Like, you see some of these where they have like thousands of roses and candles. Like, that's great. That's what he or she wanted to do for their, you know, the person that they were proposing to. But yours could be as simple as going to the person's job and saying, "Will you marry me?" and someone's there to photograph it and it's done. You know, like, make it. I think people need to make things as unique as it is to them and make it their own, because this is your love story. It's your journey. And so when you're copying someone else, you're like stripping your own story, not even starting it the way you want to, you know. So.
And with any part of, you know, this story in this wedding, that there's that planning piece and planners. That's becoming a big thing too of especially, you know, where I'm expanding my businesses. Engagements and proposals, and people want help with that planning, and because we can work with photographers of, okay, where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there. It's, you know, it's kind of a timeline as well.
Yeah.
You know, proposals and that as well. So that's
and some people also want they want that decor, and you guys might have the connection where you can get it. Like, I know I was
setting it up.
Yeah, I was shooting a wedding at dang it, I always forget this location. It's not Blue Gardens, but I'm just gonna use that because it came in my head. But we were shooting a wedding there, but like around the corner was a surprise proposal, and he had all of the pictures they've ever taken, like, hung up on the trees and candles and roses.
He went on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Pinterest.
Yeah. But the point is, like, you guys are valuable in that, because even if the couple comes to us first, like the photography video, and says, okay, well, this is what I want to do, like, I want to have an Aladdin themed proposal. Okay, well, I know the planner that can get that for you, or at least that look, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's about being connected, really.
Yeah, and that's, again, kind of what the whole purpose of this show is.
Courtney.
To keep people connected. No, keep people connected and see, you know, how professionals work together and why we use each other. And so we're going to keep moving on, and I again want to, for people logging in, saying, hey, you know, Priscilla Rose Events again. We're here with Unashamed Imaging with Anisha Collins. We're talking all things engagement photos, proposals. We're going to move on to elopements. I'm so excited about elopements because it's something that's becoming very popular, especially with our millennial age. We want to do things efficiently, and we want to do things a little bit more intimately. So we're going to kind of jump into elopement, and I'm really excited. I did do a little social media survey, so I'm just going to kind of share these out real quickly. Maybe be able to give us some points, but if you have any questions, you want to ask an elopement question, do I need a planner, how do I work my photography in there, feel free. So one of the questions was, what is a reason to elope? 22% said it's because we want to keep it ourselves, that intimacy. But 78% of people said it's because of the expenses and stress.
Oh, yeah.
Not surprised. Places to elope, 43% said tropical. 57% said the mountains. I'm with you. Colorado, Utah, Montana. First look with an elopement. 45 said, of course. 45% people said, of course, I want a first look. 55% said, no, keep the tradition of not seeing each other. With an elopement. And then I threw this one in, of course, because I'm a planner. Do you need a planner when you elope? 71% said yes, because they know.
Yeah.
And 29% said no, and I know who you are. I talk to you. But some interesting, the expenses and stress, I'm not surprised at all. But the first look with an elopement.
Thoughts? I can see it. I can definitely see it, because first looks on a wedding day can be hard if the timeline is not being respected. Like, people are late, stuff happens, right? So I can see it definitely for an elopement, because it's usually just the couple and maybe a few people, or sometimes it's just the couple. Right. So you have that flexibility, you have that time to really to do something like that. But I don't feel like it's required. I feel like it's a really good segue to either jump straight into the ceremony or jump straight into couples portraits, because usually that's what I do when after the first look moment happens, we'll take some portraits of the couple, and that gives them more photos.
Because in a traditional wedding, that's usually why a big reason why people do first look anyway. Right. Is because they want to be in the cocktail.
The intimate time.
Yeah. Okay, so I really want to hear kind of from a photography standpoint of kind of what the process is. Again, elopement's becoming a bit more popular now. Yeah. You know, whatever reason it is, just for a destination. Orlando's a destination in itself. Yep. Kind of what your process is, and just kind of any of your thoughts about being, because you're familiar and you have experience with destination weddings as well as elopement. So what your kind of your process is, your thoughts about destination and elopement.
So are you talking about people coming here? Because I do destinations too, like leaving.
Let's start with leaving. Okay.
We're going to New York.
I'm going to Colorado, girl.
Okay. So communication, even if it's not a destination wedding, communication with your vendors, planner, wedding photography, it doesn't matter who, is a huge thing. I'm big on being organized. I used to be a nurse, so we had to be organized and time efficient. But communication is probably the one thing that I see mess up so many wedding experiences, because either like the photographer knows something that the planner doesn't know, or you have some planners, this is true, that feel like, don't ask me about the timeline. You follow my timeline. You do what I say, and that's it. And I feel like that's not realistic. No. So like for me, for example, let's say someone booked you as their planner, right? Like I would still request to see the timeline. I would review it to make sure that what the couple booked me for matches the timeline. If it's good to go, just thumbs up, it's good to go. If it's not, then that's when I have the conversation with the planner and say, hey, listen, they only have me until this time. We might want to move this up, cut this out. And you would think that that's something that's discussed before the timeline is made, but it's not. I've done a few weddings where the timeline didn't match services provided for photo video.
Oh, you're hurting me right now.
Sorry. But then some...
Makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, no, but that's why I do it. And then some planners are like, well, how dare you ask me? But it's like, it's about the experience for the couple. So I feel like that's the least I can do as a photographer to be accountable for the time, you know? So I feel like that's a huge factor for destination weddings too. Absolutely. Like communication, what's happening when, yes, things will change, but at least having like some foundation to start with is a big deal. Normally photographers and videographers, if they are like we're going to Colorado, we're not going to New York. I wanted to go to New York, she said Colorado. So if we're going, or she has said we're going, scouting. So I like to arrive early. I would never arrive on the day of your wedding. Anything can happen. Flight, I can get sick randomly, whatever. So I like to arrive early, so that way I'm there a day ahead or two, depending on what happens, and then I'll scout the area. But also from my professional experience, I've gone to a wedding where I still came a day early and maybe didn't have the time to scout, but I know what I'm looking for, you know what I mean? So that experience helps a lot when you have a destination wedding. You don't want someone that doesn't even know how to use a camera to shoot your destination wedding that you and your family spend so much money on to have. So that's a key factor. So arrival time, planning, and I think just, again, like, making it your own as much as possible, because again, you don't live here if you're coming to Orlando, or you know, if I'm flying somewhere out, but you still want to have the same experience. And I think a professional, regardless what you do in the industry, if you're able to take your services out of your home state, you know what you're doing, because you just know what you're doing. Like, that's why you're able to do it.
Yeah. And do you find, since you mentioned, you know, with Orlando, sometimes this is the destination.
Right.
Do you find that couples are kind of stuck with, you know, should I try and find a photographer that's where we're going, or that they're bringing, you know, with travel fees, or what do you kind of see a lot of? Should they get a photographer that's local to that area, or one that they know?
See, that
they don't know a plant or a photographer in Colorado. So
it varies, because first there's a couple factors. It's like budget. If you don't have the budget to fly someone like me, especially since I offer both services, photo, video, so people say, oh, well, I want photo and video. Great, we're there, but there's flight, there's hotel, there's paying period for what we do, right? So if you don't have a budget for it, then I think it's better to hire someone local, which is why if you're coming to Orlando, you want to get connected with people who know this area, who are experienced, you know. But, you know, that's one factor. But then also there is the know, like, and trust factor, because I've been flown out to areas that I'm not, you know, that's not my home, you know? And because they know me, they trust me, they like me, they've seen my work, they're like, no, she has to do it. I had a bride that got engaged, like, in 2015, and she got married in 2018. It was like, you're doing my wedding. I was like, okay. And at first I was like, it's like 3 years, you might find.
Nope,
that was
it, yeah.
So, you know, I think just having that know, like, and trust is valuable. But you have to think of budget. And if, like, I'll give a budget tip real quick. If budget is an issue, there might be stuff that you can't have that's in the full collection. So, you know, don't expect to, hypothetically, like, let's say that the collection is like $4,000, right? Let's just go with a random number. With all bells and whistles. I said wells and whistles, right?
Wells and
Like,
whistles.
sorry. They may take stuff out for it to be more in your budget, but don't expect to get that same package for, you know, less money. Like, there's a reason why things are priced the way they are.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna touch on that as well.
Yeah.
So before, because I got a few like little random things that we're gonna talk about, but before, especially with elopement, how are you going to make your couples this? And by the way, this is my favorite question. Just a little tip: if you're gonna visit any professional, photographer, florist, planner, I always, because you can go on Google and say, what should I ask my florist? And it's gonna come up with how many weddings did you do and what's your deposit? And we know when you Google to the questions, because we know, and those are good questions. But I always say, you know, this is the person, you know, planning especially. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be up your dress. I'm gonna be the first one that sees you under your garment. Like, we are gonna be best friends. So you gotta know me, you gotta like me, you gotta trust me. Same thing, especially with photographers, because they're gonna capture those intimate moments and you guys kissing for the first time and be real. But one of my favorite questions that I always tell couples to ask their professionals is, what are you gonna do for me on the day of my wedding that's going to make my life so much easier? What are you gonna do for me that's going to make my day run smoothly? Why should I hire you? I know, you know, this person did 20 weddings and this person did 30 weddings and your deposit's the same, but what are you going to do for me that's going to make my day? Because that's what you want on a wedding day. You want professionals that are going to make you stress-free. So my question to you is, what do you do for your couples?
Well, I can't reveal everything because it is a part of the experience. I have nothing to hide, essentially, but it is a part of the experience. And even if I was to give like a whole list, and another photographer was like, they're not me.
They're not me.
So them doing something, like, for example, some planners may not get up the dress to help you with, I don't know, maybe you had a wedgie or something. I don't know, whatever.
Like butts, I have so many butts.
Yeah, so, like, some planners may not feel comfortable, but that's something that makes you unique and different. So for them, they're like, well, I'm not doing that. So it doesn't really matter if someone tries to copy what another business owner does, because they're not you. But one thing that I do, and I feel like it has the biggest impact, is, and some people will say, what? Like, I actually text most of my clients that I have the most communication with are their brides. So I don't want you to be like, what about the groom? But I usually text the bride, and I'm having like just conversations with her. And I'll tell you the reason why. One, I arrive to every wedding early because Florida traffic is crazy, and I don't like the anxiety of like getting there and just be like, oh my gosh, I don't like that feeling. I'd rather have 30 minutes and just like woosah and then come in. And I'll tell you that I do arrive early because when I get to my weddings, the first thing that the bridesmaids usually say is, she's early. And I'm just like, and I kind of do like a little angel devil and like my shoulder rub, like, yeah, she's early. Like, that's what I do, you know. So that's a big deal. But for me, like, I definitely communicate with my brides through text. One, calling, they have everybody and their mother calling them, so I don't call. But I'll just, hey, good morning, beautiful, like, how's the day going? And it's a genuine, I'm telling you what I say, but it's genuine. And usually they're like, either everything's going smooth, or they're like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then I kind of know how I need to be there for them. Right. So I can't be anxious while they're anxious. I know, like, at a recent wedding, and these things happen, so it's no shade if you're watching, but the makeup artist was late. That's why I said a recent wedding. I'm not telling you which one because I've been sharing a whole bunch on my feed. But the makeup artist was late. It was a significant amount of time. And the bride was just kind of like, she was worried, like, well, what happens between us? Mm-hmm. Like, are you going to be here long enough? Because now that pushes the date back, the time back. And so I took it upon myself, and I have a right to do that as a business owner. I said, I'll come 15 minutes later. You know what I mean? Took the weight off her back. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
It was just an easy fix,
but if I don't communicate like that on the date, before I get there, I won't know those kind of things to help in that way. And that has nothing to do with taking photos. It's just being there for the person. I've been at a wedding before where the planner was not present. Like, they were on location, but they weren't present for the couple.
I didn't talk about planners.
And it was at a really, really, really nice, well-known location. And I had to, thank goodness I had a second shooter, but I had to pretty much like be the planner / photographer. And that's one thing that like my couple from that wedding remembered. And look, things happen. Like, I've had family get sick, when I've been at a wedding, and things happen. So again, this is no shade. I'm just saying, like, these are ways that you can step up that have nothing to do with taking photos or video.
And that's why you need amazing professionals. Okay, so we got a few things that we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. I just want to ask a few kind of like, they didn't really fit an elopement engagement, but I wanted to kind of let people hear, and then I have a quick little, what we always end our real talk with is keep, toss, or update. This is my favorite.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. So a few last questions, kind of quick here. I don't have a large budget. This was a question. I don't have a large budget. And honestly, I mean, really with weddings, does anyone really have, I mean, there are a few people that have large budgets, but everyone's, I feel like, trying to be savvy and smart with their budget, even if it's large or small. So we'll keep that in mind. I don't have a large budget. What's the best way to get the most bang for my buck with photography?
Ooh.
Real talk, people.
Yeah. I mean, this is real talk. She gave me permission to be real.
I did. So, for everyone.
I would focus on getting, if you don't have a large budget, I would still focus on a quality photographer and skip all of the extras, which would be album canvas prints. Get quality photos, because you can always order your albums, prints, canvases from your photographer later on. Plus, it saves you money with taxes, because they don't have to tax your whole collection, because that's if they're doing it the right way. So that's a tip right there. But I would not sacrifice the quality of any wedding vendor just because you don't have a large budget, because you're going to experience what you get based on what you pay for.
And you're the expert here, but what I tell my couples, and you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong here, but I always encourage couples, if they're, usually photographers charge per coverage hour. So, a 6-hour package, 8-hour, 10-hour. So if they're like, well, where do I kind of spend my hours? I always encourage them to go earlier in the day, makeup, getting ready, first look with mom, first look with dad. Because at the end of the night, there's only so many pictures you can take of people dancing and getting drunk.
Yeah.
Unless there's some amazing, crazy grand exit that I always tell them, and that's only,
But even with that, no, I do the same thing. If they have to adjust, I agree with that. And even if you do have like a special exit, you can always do what they call a mock exit. So I wouldn't do it if you have like real sparklers, but if you have the fake ones that they're doing now, which are so pretty, because they don't emit any fire or any heat, you can do that, a fake one, and then you at least it was captured for your day, and then you have your real exit with your family and friends, and be done for the night. But you don't have to worry about it not being captured at all. So there are ways to work your timeline. Again, it goes back to what I said, communicating it. We can't guess or assume what you want. And some couples say, no, I don't want to fake the exit. I'll pay for that extra time. But if I can throw this in there, I don't want to take up too much time. But I would say on average, you should book like your wedding photo and video minimum. I know this is going to be like, what? 9 hours is probably ideal. 9 hours from the time you start to the time that they would leave. Anything less than that, you are going to compromise how much coverage.
I mean, a wedding itself is at least 6 hours. You got an hour for ceremony, turning into a cocktail, especially if it's somewhere else. You got 4-hour reception, getting ready photos. I mean, it really does add up. Okay, another question. Don't feel pressure because there's a planner sitting right next to you. But do you, as a photographer, prefer working with a planner or not a planner? Or day of?
planner all day, every day.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, planner all day, every day, every day. Yeah, no, it's needed.
Good professional.
Yeah.
Certified,
they're doing.
Certified wedding planners. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Not your aunt who thinks stop that.
Yeah. And
certified professional planner. Just real talk.
Yeah. All wedding vendors are not created. I'm stuttering because I'm trying to get it out and not laugh. All wedding vendors are not created equal. I've shot weddings at the same venue.
That should be a t-shirt. That's our t-shirt.
Yeah, right. Right. Don't steal our that. But no, I've shot weddings at the same venue, different planners, and they've gone completely different based on the planner and the vendor team as a whole. So that's why, honestly, if you're struggling with finding like what vendors for stuff that you need, ask the people that you've already booked that are vendors. So if for example, you come to me for photo, I'm looking for a planner, I'm looking for a bridal gown salon, floral, makeup. I have a whole vendor list on my website. Ask us because, one, to an extent, we refer certain people, not for a reason. But I'll tell you straight out, nobody on my vendor list gets paid to, like, no one's getting paid for, like, it's strictly because I work with them, we have good relationship, I've seen their work, they're credible, they care, and it's energy. Absolutely. You're with each other for at least maximum 10 hours on I don't want to be with someone that, no offense, I don't want to be with someone that doesn't like me. I don't want to be with someone I don't like or doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, perfect. So, I got one more question, and we're going to go into... I know, girl. Usually I have a glass of wine, it gets weird. I got one more question before we go into Keep Chaucer updates. Okay. So, most creative poses or backdrops you've seen?
Oh.
And this could be for wedding day, this could be for engagement session, this could be for...
These are really good.
Thank you. These are my people's giving me questions.
Backdrop, what I've seen a lot, it's so funny, I feel like I'm being put on the spot because the camera turned this way. So it's like, what is your real answer? It's good. It's all good. Wow. I have a thing for fox walls, like the green leafy walls. So anyone that can do that kind of setup, anyone that could do that kind of setup with like their name, some kind of custom personalized to your wedding, that is a really, really good, that's a really good setup. There's also engagement photos I've seen where like it's mountain area or waterfall. I feel like anything that's not the norm, that just makes you go, wow, those are the things that I'm really appeal to. And sometimes, like, you know, depending on the couple, if they want to travel or not, like, you can't get to those kind of locations. But they are out here. Yeah. Sometimes I'll drive around Florida and I'm like, why didn't I see that last month of my session? Like, it's out here. You just have to find it and remember. I have a little thing, like, I'll screenshot streets and stuff. Yeah, because I'm like, oh, I want to come back here and do a session. So.
I've seen, too, like, a lot of, especially with, like, baby reveals and everything, like, the colored wall, like, the graffiti walls.
Yeah,
like,
the
ones you find downtown, those are really popular, too, right now. And then someone did mention about planners and how making sure... I'm gonna real quick. Okay. All right, so this is my real talk real quick about planners. Let me talk to y'all about something. Okay. You know you have a professional wedding certified planner when these need to be t-shirts, girl.
Okay.
When they are the first thing I do is even if I'm day of, month of, I'm going to their vendors. Whatever, I'm looking over their contracts, talking about, well, okay, you've booked Nisha for 8 hours. Let me find out where those 8 hours fall. And usually DJ photographers have their own timelines. My job is not to override their timelines. My job is to put their timelines within mine so everyone knows where everything is. And sometimes that may have to be adjusted, and that's a conversation I'm having with vendors of, hey, you know, that you guys are overlapped here or whatever the case is. Yeah. Even things like, someone brought up, you know, making sure I have somewhere to eat and I can eat.
Good. Whoever brought that up, good job.
I always ask my couple. And my vendors, I contact them, hey, I'm so excited, I'm the planner for this wedding, I can't wait to work with you. I just wanted to make sure that the couple actually did book you from 8 hours. I'm looking over your contracts and that you're arriving at this time, that you have a second shooter and you're leaving at this time. I also would like to know if you need a vendor meal and if your second shooter needs a vendor meal, if you have any dietary restrictions. And as soon as they tell me that is going in the timeline.
Yeah.
And then usually it's right when the couple's eating, I'll go up to my photographers first. They are the first people that eat. I go up to them and I say, hey, you guys are rocking it. I already set your food up in this room, and I would love for you guys to go ahead and eat, because when your couple's eating, your photographers are eating.
And if you don't mind, like that,
absolutely,
that's how I actually have that written in my contract, because the reason why that happens is because I don't shoot people while they're like this. Like, no one wants a photo like with food in their mouth. So it makes the most sense for us to eat when the couple is eating, because once the couple is done, they're walking around, they're up, and we want to be ready.
Let me tell you what you do not want. You do not want angry vendors and hungry vendors working they've been there for 12 hours. Yeah. They've been there, I get there noon and I don't leave till midnight. So and I'm the last one to eat. Once my photographers eat, my videographers eat, my assistants eat. You really doesn't ever eat, but they're just crazy. But that's why you have a planner. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because I just want to go ahead and shout that out. Okay, so favorite part, one of my favorite parts. So this kind of started crazy in our real talk, but it became a thing. It's a keep toss update. So these are typical or maybe trending things specific to whoever we're chatting with, and this is just our opinion. This is real talk. I made people angry when I said things.
Oh no.
I know. Because I was like, I want to get rid of this. And they're like, don't get rid of that. I'm like, well, I just hope, like, I'm going to anger people here. Sparkler exits. Love them. I want them updated. Like, I personally, like.
Update, yeah. I thought she was about to say
update.
Toss.
No, don't toss them. Make it update.
Yeah.
Update. So I've upset people. But this is real talk. This is just my opinion. But we're going to kind of give a little.
I'm trying to cheat and look at what she has.
And then we're simply just going to say keep, toss, let's update it. We'll give our reasons why. And then I've also had a couple of people watching that they also joined. So feel free to tell us if you want to keep, toss, update.
Yeah, comment.
So here we go.
Update. Okay.
Keep, toss, update.
Yeah.
Day after photo shoots.
Keep. Yeah, keep.
Keep. I love these. I actually just saw a destination photographer that I follow, and they did that seems to be really popular too with destination weddings, the day after, because you're in a beautiful location that you're never in.
Take advantage of it, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Keep up. Okay.
I'm not looking.
Ready? Keep, toss, update. Wedding albums.
Keep.
I'm gonna say update.
Okay, but elaborate though.
Okay. I do know, and actually, so keep, toss, update, little fun fact. I actually get these ideas from the knot. So I love to use the knot because that's something that most people can relate to, and it's a common resource out there.
Keep.
Keep. Okay, so these are trends that I see, and they actually note that wedding albums are kind of like coming back. They were like old school, and then the millennials came and want everything digital and email to us, but wedding albums are kind of coming back.
Yeah.
I like it. I just, for me personally, and I'm like a scrapbooker kind of a person, but even for me, I'm like, it's gonna sit on my shelf. And even when I see like albums out at people's houses, I'm like, I'm not sitting and looking at that. So for me, I'm just like, I want to see something kind of come out that's a little bit different.
Okay. Update. Yeah.
Update it. I don't know.
I
mean, I don't know how it would be updated as far as, you get the beautiful wedding album.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the book just sitting at your table, I'm not gonna look at it.
But see, I'm
a millennial, y'all, so
that has a lot to do with the photographer, because I know for me with my wedding albums, it's not just an album. There's something I do with it.
Yeah, and that could be something like your guest book. Maybe your guest book's tied into your album.
Yeah. But yeah, so update. I switched my response to update. You still keep them in, just update the experience.
Okay, we might have to explain this because I kind of have some thoughts here on it. Keep, toss, update. The stop motion photography, where the couple is stopped, but the background around it looks like if it's raining or something.
Well, see that.
What I'm talking about?
Yeah, that.
I said toss it.
Yeah, I'm on the toss only because everybody. I think she said.
Which one, Katrina? Keep. Okay.
I say toss it. Just Toss.
Toss.
Yeah, no long.
We don't need a split. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Keep toss update. Y'all gonna get mad at me for this one.
Okay.
Formal portraits.
Of who? Family, couple, everybody?
Formal portraits.
Keep it.
I said update.
Update as far as...
Okay, so here's my thing. Again, I'm in the mindset too of like, I love that I want to look because I love the intimacy. I want it to be just us.
Mm-hmm.
I want that intimate, I want the first look. I want
Mm-hmm.
all those moments. So for me, I love that you can look back and see, Grandma Sue was at my wedding and here we were with her.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like, I feel like, when you do look at those albums, you're kind of like, oh, there's a family. Okay, but here's us in our dress and here's us together. I always feel like they're kind of overlooked sometimes, and you spend a lot of time and money on all these formal portraits. So again, I kind of want it to be updated, and maybe it's done differently. It's a big timeline, and you have whole cocktail hours. Toss for girl, get me. And especially as a planner, I'm like, all right, I gotta do an hour and a half for formal portraits. I gotta make sure there's, and that's.
Well, see that
it's a big timeline.
If I could chime in, and I do say this to my couples, and we do have a conversation if they need more than that. It is not the time for the family reunion portraits, and I think that's the mindset that you're coming from. But I always say, update, immediate family, so small group, immediate family. And I tell my couples that because one thing that I see, and this is no shade, look, the Knot and Wedding Wire, they're a great resource in their own way, period. That's all I'm going to say. However, there are some things that couples, like, they follow the resources they find online, like, to the T. And so, shot lists, like, I don't use shot lists because I feel like they limit my creativity. If I have a paper, I'm like, okay, I'm Becky, like, it's like being at JCPenney's. You didn't pay thousands of dollars for us to sit in front. Remember JCPenney's when you had the family Christmas photo and you got 25,000 prints of the same pose? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get that same experience when you hire a professional. Right. So I think immediate family should be the focus. And immediate family is not, sometimes it doesn't include aunt and uncle. Like sometimes it's like mother and father, Lord willing or God willing, whatever, they're still alive, of the couple. Maybe their children, because people are getting married older, so if they have kids. I'm sorry, I never say skip grandparents.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my grandmother I have two grandmothers sorry, I'm getting emotional. Hold on. Okay, I have two grandmothers that I am close to. Unfortunately, one of them passed away. And I always say, like, I sometimes think about it, like, if I ever had a wedding, I would want her to be there, and I know she won't be. And my other grandmother is getting older. Let's just keep it, because I have to respect my family's privacy.
Sure.
And so I always say, like, those are the people that need to be in the photo.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I can also testify for some of my couples. I had a couple who got married. The mother of the groom, she looked fine to me. And then a few months later, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I was, like, shocked.
Yeah.
So what I did was I sent the couple a canvas print. They didn't ask me for it. I just said, I did reach out and say, is it okay? Because I didn't want to send it and spark, like, emotions that they hadn't dealt with. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's totally fine. That's amazing. I picked the photo, printed it, and mailed it to them,
That's awesome.
So I feel like grandparents should never be excluded, just because, I mean, they've watched you since you were a little jit, like, and now they get to see you, like, go into this next transition of your life. Like, if I ever get married or ever have children, my grandmother that I was really, really, really close to, like, she won't be there. Mm-hmm. She won't be there to witness it. So I was like, okay. I say grandparents should always be in, but small and immediate family.
And I think too, with all the festivities of a wedding, I mean, the rehearsal dinner, the wedding, the engagement party, and it's like those, when you're talking about like the aunt, the great aunt, the second cousin, like all of those that we're talking about, like, there's other times that you're going to see them that you could, because a lot of couples, I'll hear, I'm so tired of taking pictures. I wanted my second cousin in, and it's like it's almost like, and I always tell couples this too, nothing is a must. Mm-hmm. There is no rule. There is no, well, don't I have to have formals? You can do backflips You can take pictures with your dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it is your day, so don't feel like you're stuck in these boxes. If you want those pictures, awesome. If not, and there's other options, you know, like other times that you're going to see them.
Yeah.
The rehearsal dinner. But, you know,
I just think family, especially if they've traveled to you,
definitely.
they kind of feel like, dang, the least I can get is a photo. What I say is, this is where I posted this on my Instagram, this is where table visits come into play, because you can literally, you know, the couple can stand by the table, the photographer takes a nice group shot of whoever's at their table, and everyone has a photo of you. You know, yes, it won't be I'm going to say it won't be the prettiest, being that you're in front of a table, but it's still inclusion. Yeah.
Okay, 2 more. Keep Tom's update. Black and white photos.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. This is a keep, and I just talked about this today on Instagram. That is so funny because I did not know she was going to ask that, so that's so funny. That would be lying if I said toss, because I just talked about it on IG. Yes.
Love that.
They pull...
I want like all my wedding photos in black and white. That's too much, but...
No, there's some. Yeah. I know for me, I did this last year. I did it as a marketing, like to test it. It kind of was hit and miss. But I actually... What I did was I loaded my couple's pictures all in color, and then I made them all black and white and made a separate gallery of all black and white.
Awesome.
It wasn't a waste. I really wanted to see, like, do they care about the difference? And it was kind of like up in the air. But black and white pull emotion differently than a color photo. And literally, if you go to my Instagram, I literally talked about this today. This is so funny. It was a photo I was editing of the groom and his sister were dancing. I don't know the story behind like why it wasn't his mother, because usually that's who they'll dance with. But he just broke down crying. And when I was looking at it in color, this is another reason why I'm the type of photographer that doesn't send my editing to like outsource. I really am attached to the images. I really follow the story. I was there. I know what it felt like. I know what was said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not saying that outsourcing isn't good. Like, it has its place for sure. But it's just keep black and white. But our co-host in the comments. But when I was showing on Instagram today, the emotion between color and black and white, as soon as you hit black and white, you can feel the intensity. I just think black and white it's timeless.
Yeah.
That's what we'll have to say. Timeless.
Okay, last one.
That's a t-shirt too.
Keep toss up. That's gonna be our side business. Keep toss update. Drone coverage.
Ooh. Can I just like exit the show? No.
I'm gonna say update. I think I put toss, but I think it's becoming such a thing that
wow, that's hard.
I like it because it gives. I feel like you get this aerial view, of course, of and it is when your wedding video starts. There's this really pretty, this was the land and it kind of zooms in. But when you're thinking about budget and when you're thinking of overall, compromising and what's important to you, I just feel like it's just one of those things that's more of a trend right now that I don't know if it's really
required, necessary.
I'm gonna get a lot of flashback, I feel like, from my professionals, but for me personally, I'm like, it's just one of those.
She's
what do you think, girl? Keep, but I need to learn. Girl, I do too. And I do weddings and I see drones. I'm like, oh, that's pretty. I don't know what it's doing up there, but
I think this is hard because I do photo and video, so of course we do drone footage. However, drone footage is not guaranteed, and anyone that does it professionally follows the FAA laws. Like, we have the same laws that the airplanes in the sky follow, we have to follow too.
Cool in the area.
So I tell my couples, like, drone footage is not guaranteed day of. It's not guaranteed.
Weather permitted.
Right, weather is a huge factor, especially in Florida with the rain. There's been some instances where I've flown a drone like the day before because I knew it was going to rain, or the day after, but sometimes that's not realistic either. So I just feel like don't if you're a couple, don't feel like because you don't have drone footage in your video that it's not good. I've had videos that have won awards and gotten nominated, have gotten tons of views that have no drone footage in it at all. I think it's a nice aesthetic, but I think a lot of people rely on like, let me get that opening drone shot that just shows, over the water. But it's like, you see how many videos have that same, like, then now you're automatically putting your wedding in a category of somebody
Absolutely.
else. And some people don't know how to operate drones properly, and so now you're talking about damage and liability of crashing the drone or crashing it into someone or a building. Like, I don't think they're required. So I say update with smaller drones, because we have the bigger ones. Like, I still have a Phantom 3, so I can't even talk. Mine is still big.
I don't know what Phantom
But the Mavic Pros, they're smaller drones. They still get high quality footage, but it's easier and more compact. But I'm kind of like update and toss.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
I originally put toss on my paper, and I was like, well, maybe update, because it really is. It just depends, like you said, on your love story and what's important to you all. And I mean, anything in a wedding is what's important to you, and where you're wanting to invest and invest in professionals. So with that being said, I just wanted to thank again our continue to ask us questions even if the video is over. We would love to talk with you and reach out if you are interested in learning more about engagement shooting, photography, video, planning, elopement, anything that we can help you all with. Just feel free to comment, like us, follow us. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that my handle is Priscilla Rose Events. You can see me at PR Events, Instagram, Facebook, and then my website, of course, is PriscillaRoseEvents.com. Email, text us, say hey, message us. You want to share your...
Yes, I do want to share one thing. On my Instagram, which is Unashamed Imaging, I'll put it as a comment, and Priscilla, you can add it as well. I am doing a giveaway with Hitch Switch. Hitch Switch helps you change your name. So they explain it more like in depth, but that's just my short version of it. But we're doing a giveaway. It's for their platinum package, which is their top package. This is the second giveaway I've done with them, so I'm really excited about it. I just announced it today on my Instagram. So you can enter the giveaway if you are recently engaged or engaged, meaning like you haven't gotten married yet, but you're still engaged. You can be married already, but haven't changed your name. Obviously, if you haven't changed your name, it would apply.
Absolutely.
Or you can be engaged but getting married. You do have to tag like your venue and your spouse. We want it to be fair. So don't, like, if it doesn't apply to you, like, don't do it, because we do take all the entries. And then also, if you know anyone that falls under that category, so recently engaged in planning, or already married but haven't changed their name, they can enter too. So the drawing is on the 15th, so that's next Friday. Yep.
So make sure that you're commenting, messaging.
Yeah. Only on just comment. Leave a comment on Instagram. We have it under one post, so that we're not like missing anybody in the country. Yep.
And for Real Talk next week, we're actually meeting with Shannon. We're talking all things venues. So if you are still looking for a venue, that's always one of the biggest.
Shannon of Wedding Venue Map?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, she's good. She's good.
You heard it here first. So tune in. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll talk with you all soon. Bye.